Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Today's presenter is Jose. A little bit about him. He's been a Salesforce developer since 2016. He joined Nextiva in June of last year and is currently working on the Nextiva dialer for Salesforce. In his spare time, he likes to take pictures of his dog when she's sleeping because she makes funny faces, and he actually did share some of those pictures with us, so definitely ask him about that. And last, his birthday's coming up, so let's be sure to wish him a happy birthday before we get off the call. So remember that these sessions are meant to be interactive, so drop your questions in the chat or unmute yourself and go ahead and ask directly. And as always, we just encourage everyone to, if they're interested in presenting, please reach out to Norma or me and we'll help get that arranged. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Jose.
Thank you, Terry, and thank you all for joining. And so today I'm gonna talk a little bit about Salesforce and the reason why we are taking this, why it's important Salesforce as a technology. As Terry said, I've been working with Salesforce since 2016, almost after I graduated from college. So it's been a long, good time. I have, and it's very interesting. So let me get started. So these are the topics that we are going to cover. We are going to see why it's important for Nextiva to know about Salesforce, what is Salesforce, the Salesforce apps that are available in the market, the Salesforce platform, the development part of Salesforce, and how you can learn more about Salesforce itself. So let's get started. So why Nextiva and Salesforce? So Nextiva currently uses Salesforce as a CRM. A few of the sales agents that we have here at Nextiva are tracking their sales, making leads and everything else in Salesforce, along with the CRM that we have for us. So that's one of the important things. And another important thing, as Terry said, is that we are working with a dialer, which I'm going to show you at this moment. Let me go to my Chrome. So yeah, so here we have a Salesforce interface. So as you can see here, I'm already logged in and everything else. So if I click on this corner, I will see the Nextiva dialer pop up. So I'm gonna log in here and demonstrate a little bit how it works. So let me just refresh it and load it again. So basically, the dialer, it's just another interface that we have. It's similar to the call pop that we have in our CRM. So, but from here, you can start making calls and also attending calls and everything else. And for example, if I would like to directly call one of my contacts, I can do so, but just by clicking here. And the call pop should be shown here. And then if you were paying attention, you will see that I'm taken to the details of the record. And from here, I can start taking notes and everything else. And I need to answer here from my Nextiva app. And the audio will be connected through it. I'm just going to end it right now. So that's a really quick demo of how it works. So that's one of the reasons that is important for Nextiva to have the know about Salesforce. As I said, everything that you can do in the Nextiva app, you can do it as well here. You can transfer and everything else. Or also besides that, you will see if I reload this record that a new task is created and associated to the corresponding contact in this case, but it can be associated to any record. And if we go to the details of that record, we can see the details of the call. This all is automatically logged and automatically created, and it's saved there in Salesforce for you as a customer to track all your sales here. Here also you can normally have like a playback of the recordings of all your calls. So you can hear what the agent was saying to the customer and everything, just integrated right here. So that's one of the big reasons that we are talking about Salesforce today. So let me talk a little bit more about what is Salesforce. So Salesforce, in general, it's a company that was founded back in 1999. So it's been around for 21 years so far. And this company, it was created because it wanted to offer a cloud-based CRM. And currently, it has been growing a lot. I think since the last 10 years has grown a lot. It has various applications. It has a lot of integrations, and as you can saw, you can develop your own applications. And as from your own, if you would like to share your own application, you can distribute it by the App Exchange, which is basically just the app store of Salesforce. So Salesforce offers both the software as a service component and the platform as a service component to all the customers. In regards of the software as a service component of Salesforce, we have different applications that we can start using right now, right away. When you sign up for Salesforce, paid your license and everything else, you can start using some of the applications here. So, for example, Salesforce has like a similar vision that as Nextiva has. So Nextiva would like to offer their customers like 360 view of all the sales of all the customers they have, and it's very similar in Salesforce. So that's why they have all these applications. There are the sales, service, marketing, e-commerce, apps, analytics, integration, and so on to get you make more sales at the end of the day. So the most important applications that we have are the sales and service, which we are going to talk about a little bit more. We also have the marketing. These are just for making marketing campaign. And I don't know if you have some interaction with a marketing team or someone else, but normally here at Nextiva, we're using the Pardot application to make marketing campaigns from there. We also have the e-commerce, and this section it's more related to the apps. The Salesforce platform. The Salesforce platform, as we're going to see a little bit later, it's more related like to developing your own applications and then being able to distribute it through the App Store or the App Exchange, which is how Salesforce calls their store. And analytics, in the analytics side, we have the Tableau software, which you also access and pay it as you go, depending on the usage that you have. You will be paying just only for the resources that you have. And also we have the MuleSoft. I think it was bought in 2018, this software. We also have the documents for storing all that the employees need. And this, the Trailblazers and Reskilling, it's just a software that you can access and implement it in your own company. So you can tell your employees what they need to do, what they need to learn in order for them to get higher, to get better in the company. Yeah, all of these are more related to partners. So normally in your company, you will have your distributors or your vendors that you will be making business with. And you can also have this software that is here. set it up, and you will be tracking all your vendor data, if they are making warranties, if they are making claims, all of it will be stored here. Also, in this whole environment, you will have Einstein AI, which is the artificial intelligence that Salesforce is providing. So Salesforce a few years back started developing this. And with this helps you to, during all your processes, it gives you like little coaches. So for example, if you are using the Salesforce CRM, which is the Sales Cloud, and you as an end user or as an agent are trying to sell something to a customer, you will access and see what is Einstein is recommending you to do. It can even give you like speeches or what to say to the customer. So let's say, for example, that I'm trying to sell you a service that I provide, and if I go to my Sales Cloud and see what you are interested in, I will Einstein will tell me that hey, maybe you can tell them that they are all great persons, so they can start buying your product or something like that. So everything related to that is in Einstein. Let me continue with Sales Cloud. So as I said, Sales Cloud is the CRM of Salesforce. Here you can track all your leads, your opportunities, your accounts. All the sales process is stored here. You can customize it whereas you need it. So for example, let me take you to Salesforce just to give you a little bit of context here. Here I'm logged in Salesforce already, and I'm already in the sales application. Normally, if you are in Salesforce, you will be taken to this page. And all this page is totally configurable. And depending of how you are doing and what task you are pending to do, you will see different information here. So for example, I'm gonna go to opportunities. And I can see here all the opportunities that I recently viewed. And also I can switch views to all the opportunities that I have here. And depending on the sales process that I currently have, I will have different stages. And this will help me do certain actions. So for example, if I'm selling this, I will click on the record and we'll see that different page layouts, contacts, decision key makers, and everything will be here. So for example, if I would like to continue with the process, I will just, as an agent, just mark this stage as complete and all the other stages and different information and like coach from Einstein will be shown here. So that's how you normally navigate through the Sales Cloud. As you can see here, it's like very similar, like to an Excel sheet. In regard to that, you have the list of tabs, and then you will be clicking on different objects to show different information, and then from there you can start working. So that is like the value of this application is just to help you help you make a sale a little bit quicker in this case. And that's it. Let me go back to the presentation, and I'm going to talk about now Service Cloud. Service Cloud, as you can see here in the image, it's very similar to Sales Cloud. And in this case, Service Clouds allow you to continue providing support to the customer once you sell something. So if you you sell, let's say, monitors, computer monitors, and maybe one of the monitors that you sent to one of your customers is wrong, is not working fine, or it arrived with some errors. Your customer will normally get in touch with your support representative, and your support representative will do everything get the monitor working, even maybe change it or maybe replace it or something else. And everything will be tracked here in Salesforce. If I go to the interface in Salesforce, I will now change to Service Cloud. Here at the top left side of the screen, you will see that we have all the applications listed here. So I'm just going to look for service. Once I'm here, I can see this tab that is cases. Here, it's basically where you will track all your cases, where it's very similar to a Jira ticket. So maybe it's something that you saw was not working fine. So you just enter all the information here, and a new record is created. You obviously can set up everything. You can set up this as you want it. You can set it for your team, set it up for maybe for managers, and depending on the level of access that you set up for your users, you will see different information here. So let me go here. So that's basically the main two applications that we have in Salesforce. I don't know if any of you have any questions.
Team, remember that you can add your questions directly to the chat and Jose will read them.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay. Yeah, so if no questions, let me continue. So now I'm going to talk about the Salesforce platform. This is more related to the platform as a service, as I told you before. So as you know, the platform as a service concept is when you start developing something, you will not need to set up you will need to set up the servers or the infrastructure to start deploying your application and distribute it. So that's the basic concept of the platform as a service. And Salesforce has an offering that allows you to do that. And the main offerings that Salesforce has is the Salesforce itself, and which is the Salesforce platform. And here, all the applications are the way they are built, and all the applications are built in a multi-tenant cloud, as we can see here in the image. What that means is that all the customers or the end users will have access to the same set of resources, regardless of if they are paying more or if they are paying more licenses, they have more users. They will have the same infrastructure available for everyone. So that's similar to when you are renting an apartment in which you are living, in the city that you are living. So normally you have the whole building set up and all the amenities there, and each of the persons live there have access to the same level of resources there. So that's how Salesforce manages this, and you can obviously have a little bit more of data, but in regards of the performance or access to certain things, it's always the same. So all the applications as we are built here, even the Sales Cloud that we saw, the Service Cloud that we saw, is built here. And you can escalate it more easily with this application, and maybe you won't need to worry about giving maintenance to the infrastructure, or maybe like having your own servers. Everything is managed by them. So yeah, that's it. A very good platform. And also Salesforce has another offering that is called Heroku. So Heroku is a container-based cloud platform. So basically, when you are developing an application, you can just push to a Git branch here, and then all your changes or all your application will be deployed to a server. And there's no need for you to worry about how you will set up let's say your load balancer, your instances of servers or your virtual private servers. Everything will be done by Heroku. And I was trying I'm gonna try to demonstrate this in a use case. Let me just go here. So this is an repo of one web application that is available for Salesforce that is called the Salesforce Workbench. So this is a very similar workbench that we have for SQL. This was developed by one of the developers at Salesforce. And if we go to the GitHub repo, we will see this button that is deployed to Heroku. So if we click on it, we will be taken to Heroku as we see here. And then since I'm already logged into Heroku, I will just need to choose an app name, as I'm doing right now. And then I will just need to click on deploy app. So basically what it's doing right now, it's creating all the servers and compiling the code. As we can see here, it's running, I think it's an Apache server. Yeah, and it's deploying everything there, so it's setting everything up there. And now we get the message that our app was successfully deployed. So I'm gonna view it. Yeah, and it's basically the same that we see here in this tab. And yeah, you can all do the same. Go to the repo and click on the deploy button. You will be taken to Heroku. If you don't have an account, you can create it for free. Or also, if you already have, you can just log in and continue with the process. But yeah, that's basically Heroku. It's the platform as a service, regardless of how your application is built or how you develop your application. It's supposed to work with any programming language and any technology that you are using. So it's worth a look and a try if you are doing like the separate development or trying a few new things. You can go to Heroku and give it a go. So let me continue with the presentation.
And Jose, I have a question.
Yeah.
What DevOps tools are available in Salesforce? I'm not sure if you have it in another part of the presentation.
Yeah, so you can set up your own the normal tools that you use for DevOps. You can set them up in Salesforce. Of course, you will need to tweak a little stuff there because there is something in Salesforce that it's called change sets. That's basically how you deploy things between different environments. But generally, the tools that you already have for doing DevOps and everything else, those will not work fine in Salesforce. Normally, you will need to get an app exchange app and install it in your Salesforce org. And from there, they will offer you different services that will allow you to do DevOps. But I can share a link to a video that explains a little bit more about that. It's from a company that is called Netgear, I think. Sorry, just give me a second to look for it. Yeah. Yeah, these persons that are giving this talk they have a DevOps offering. So I'm gonna share that with you, and
yeah,
you can start digging into it.
Awesome. So, yeah, you can share the link and we can check it out.
Awesome. Thank you, Norma. So let me continue with the development part of Salesforce. So Salesforce, it's basically an object-oriented programming language. There is something that is called Apex. That's the name of the backend code that you will have in Salesforce. Also, in everything else, it's very similar to the normal development that you are currently doing. The only thing is that we have some basic different concepts. which are these that are here in the presentation. So normally you will have tables in your database, but in Salesforce you will have objects, which it's basically the same, but the objects they already have like a layer of abstraction. So you will normally don't need to do like more code. You will just call the object and will have access to the records and the fields in the objects. And also we have the Visualforce pages, which are basically the view of Salesforce. Salesforce typically it's developed with the good old MVC, the model view controller. So that's basically the view part. But also there is something that is a little bit more recent that is called the Lightning Web Components, which in this case you can use them also as MVC in the front end, very similar to what other JavaScript frameworks are doing. And in this case, in the Lightning components or Lightning Web Components, you are using more JavaScript than in the Visualforce pages. So that's a big part of Salesforce. And also there is something that is called SOQL and SOSL in Salesforce, which are basically the same as SQL, and which stand for Structured Object Query Language and Search Object Query Language in Salesforce. They are different in which the search language is more for searching in various objects, whereas the SOQL is for searching in particular objects. And we also have the developer console. The developer console, it's basically just where you do all your code. And you don't need, if you have access to Salesforce, you don't need to set up anything to start developing with it. You will just go to the gear button right here, and then click on the developer console. So this is the developer console, and you will have access to your classes, your views, and everything else. So let me just open one class here. Yeah, so there you have it. All your classes will be here. And let me just go to another Salesforce instance to show you the examples that I already had. Yeah. So this is another Salesforce instance that I have here, and I set it up for today. And if I go to the gear button and click on developer console, I will have access to everything that I need to develop. You can also, if you would like to start developing in Salesforce, you can also use the Visual Studio. Visual Studio allows you to download the code, but if you need to run anything, you will always need to deploy it to one of your Salesforce instance here. And as you can see here, the backend code of Salesforce, which is Apex, it's very similar to what we see in Java. So for example, I have here this class, which contains how you call variables, how can you set up variables and everything else. And you can see here that it's very similar. And we also have the collections, the list, the set, and the map. And it's also very similar to Java. And also, you can see here the syntax that for creating the class, it's also very similar to Java. Here we can use different modifiers as you do in Java. For example, you can, instead of using public, you can use global, and it will be working fine and everything else. And here you can see that this is the constructor of my class. It's very similar to Java. You can pass parameters here in case you need it. Sorry. And then do the logic that you need for instantiating the class here. Also the methods you see here, they are very basic. You can You just need to set up the access modifier. If the access modifier, the return type, and the name of the method. You can pass parameters here as well. And if you are returning, in this case, for example, I'm returning a list of objects, which a list of objects, it's basically just a list of records in Salesforce. And here I have how I call this method. So I have the access modifiers, and then I have here the return type that is a list of accounts. Here, list of account, you see that I'm not saying that I created this class or something, or that this is a primitive type or something. But this is because of the Salesforce abstractions that it makes in the tables. So account is a standard object that you get in Salesforce. As you can see here in the interface, there is always this tab that is called account, which in the CRM helps you to store your customer and your customer data. So all of these are the companies that you are doing business with. That information is stored in the account object, and I can simply access to that information here in the code by just calling account. And I'm going to show you a little query, or this query exactly, of how it works. So I'm just going to call account, and here I can have the name of the account and each of the IDs of this account. If I go to Salesforce again and compare the list of accounts that I got here, you will see that they are the same. So Burlington Textiles Corp of America, it will be here. Yeah, and here it is. And also all your queries can be embedded here in a much simpler manner. As you can see here, I'm returning directly this query, which will return the list of accounts as it's doing here. So that's one of the things that is good about the Salesforce platform, that you can start developing in a more simple way here. And also you can instantiate objects as you normally do in most of the object-oriented programming language. So here I'm instantiating an object of the account and then returning it to wherever the method is calling. So the basic syntax of the Apex language. I don't know if you have any questions so far. So I'm going to continue with.
Yeah, we don't have questions on the chat, but thank you, Jose.
Okay, thank you, Norma. So I'm going to demonstrate a little bit more now about the views that we have in Salesforce. So as I was saying, there is something that is called Visualforce pages that we have in Salesforce. That is just basically XML that we have, and this is an XML file that it has its own like markup language. Here you can start using the markup language that is provided by Salesforce, as I'm doing in this example. And I'm going to show you what it shows this page. So it's also a list of accounts that is iterating through a list. So if I go here, you will see that there is not much code here. And that's basically because of the binding that I'm doing with the variables. It allows me to show the values in a simpler manner. So if I would like to have here a new HTML tag here, I can do so by just typing it here and then saying list of accounts. If I save it here, it should be displayed in my let me just change that, and yeah, I correct that. Should be working fine. We wait for it to save. If it doesn't save, you can go cancel all the deployments and save it again. Yeah, so now it's saved and we should be seeing this. Yeah, there we have it. Now we have a new H1 tag that is a list of accounts. And this obviously it's showing in a separate tab, but this can be embedded anywhere in Salesforce. So let me show you how to do that. Just let me see if I have it. Yeah. Yeah, so if I go here, now I have my page here in Salesforce. Since I don't know if you noticed, but here we have a preview button that helps you to develop. And if you click on it, you will be taken to a new tab. And the page will be shown here as it's doing right now. So that's one of the good things of using the Visual Force page. Of course, this is like the old interface for Salesforce. If I go to my settings here in Salesforce, you will see that I have here a new setting that is called Switch to Salesforce Classic. And if I switch it, I will be taken like to the Salesforce Classic interface. So as you can see here, it's like a little bit more old. And if I go to my tab here that I previously opened, you will see that that is more according to the design of Salesforce Classic. So regardless of that, you can also have your styles set up here. You can there is a tag that is called import resource that you can start using for importing large sets of CSS or JavaScript, but also you can just use your normal tags for HTML. For example, start applying classes here, and then setting your class as well here. So that's basic. You can use it basically as a container for your HTML application. If you already have one, you can go to you can just either create paste the code here, or maybe just use an iframe, and then your application will be ready to be used here in Salesforce. Obviously, if you are doing some backend stuff in another external database, you will need to do a different kind of setup. But it should work normally it should work as normally it does in our browser. So to show you that, I'm gonna go to one of the examples that I prepared. So yeah, there we have it. So this is a Unity game that I made in previous days. So this is the health secretary for Mexico that is jumping the coronavirus, and you can see here that is working fine. Even though I developed this in Unity and so on, I can embed it here in Salesforce. And if this was a useful application for the sales agents or the service agents, they will have access to it here without the need to switch between different windows and everything else. There is some, as I said previously, there is something that is a little bit more like new for Salesforce. Here I have it in my Visual Studio. So you can see here, yeah, these are called the Lightning Web Components, and you can see here that it's more more similar to modern JavaScript frameworks and everything else. So for example, I have here this component that is showing me a list of records in Salesforce. I'm gonna show you how it works. If I remember where I left it. Okay. Yeah. So this is a search bar that allows me to look for any record in Salesforce that is related to opportunities, leads, accounts, and contacts. So I'm gonna start typing a name. So for example, Norma. Yeah, I type Norma, and then I have here Norma. If I click on it, I'm taken to a separate tab with the details of this contact. And also, if I inspect that element, and see what it says in the developer tools, you will see that instead of having like the normal HTML tags, we have the Lightning Web Components tags that we are using. So that's another word, I think, worth trying out. Of course, you can use these Lightning Web Components in a separate application. The Visualforce page, you cannot use them outside Salesforce. It's only in Salesforce, but this you can use them as a framework. And this is because it's using the like more compliant, web compliant technology, and even for the interaction, you should always use the JavaScript controller instead of using binding directly from the component to the backend server. You will first use the controller here, and then all the data will be passed from the controller to the component. So I'm gonna just close this and continue with the presentation because the time is almost over. I don't know if you guys have any questions so far. I'm gonna continue. And another important thing here in Salesforce is that you can always learn more here for Salesforce. You can go to something that is called trailhead.com. Oh, one second. Let me just open it up. If you go to trailhead.com, you will have here all the resources that you need to start developing in Salesforce, to start learning in Salesforce. Here you can start choosing like a career path because as you saw, the Salesforce ecosystem is very large. So it's maybe not like a good idea try to learn everything. Depending on your job role, you can take different career paths and you can take different models. For example, here, if I open this one, I will be taken to this and we'll have different exercises and quizzes that I can complete. And then this is a gamified system that you will start leveling up here. And so you will need to create an account and you will have different badges depending on how much time you spend here. You will have different badges, points, and everything else, similar to a video game. But here you can also learn different technologies or different like soft skills. In this case, for example, we have the Google. If I click on the Google side, I have here Google Analytics, and I can start taking the modules. And also, I have seen that there are a few for Amazon. These are not all the topics because there is the other day I saw that there was a whole, like they call them trails. It's like similar like a semester of study, for example, in the university where you take all the modules and you learn about that technology. In this example, it's just a simple module, but there are modules for getting certified in AWS or getting certified in Google Analytics. And of course, if you would like to get certified in Salesforce, you can go here and start learning here. So I don't know if you have guys, any questions or something.
Thank you, Jose. I will just ask, like, what has been like the biggest challenge that you have faced on Salesforce? In Nextiva, I mean.
No, in Nextiva. Well, basically, there has been a challenge when implemented like integrations with Salesforce, basically because in Salesforce you work with different ways. So normally when in Nextiva, when you are developing something, some new thing, you start developing in your local environment, then you push to dev, RC, and so on and so forth. And when I need to consume the external services that my coworkers are developing and integrated into Salesforce, normally I don't have that like the access to the development environments and the RC environments because all of this it's in the cloud. So it's accessing from a different network. And if I would like to access from Salesforce, I will need to figure my way through all the stuff that we have to be able to develop and integrate everything. So in our work, it's like integration. It's the biggest
Great.
challenge. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Jose. I don't know if someone else has another question. Remember that you can add it to the chat or you can just unmute yourself. Okay, looks like we are done. So thank you very much, Jose. I don't know, Terry, if you want to close it.
Yeah, no, just thank you, Jose. That was awesome. And thanks for everyone for joining. And we'll be sharing the recording as well as the blog post tomorrow. So just keep your eyes out for it.